I have good news and bad news, folks. The good news is that Phillies baseball is finally back. The bank is rocking once again, as usual.
Yeah.
There is bad news, though. We're kind of at like an unconvincing 500 pace right now, Marshall.
Yeah. We'll talk about who made the opening day roster, positives, who's exceeding expectations so far, more positives, and a few guys who definitely are not off to a good start for the love of Broad Street.
Love of Broad Street. Welcome back to the show. I'm Jake. That's Marshall. We took a little break to enjoy those first few games of the season. We were waiting so long, so patiently for them. We haven't gotten a chance to talk about who made that opening day roster. And as always, there's a few notable absentees. And we're starting with three players that were starting the season on the injured list, unfortunately, Marshall.
No,
Orion
don't like
Kerkering, who's, obviously we don't want to talk about the last thing Orion Kerkering did for the Phillies, but everything before that was pretty good. Max Lazar and then Zach Wheeler, of course, with that thoracic outlet syndrome. They were all started on the injured list, all retroactive to March 22nd. But good news, Marshall. They're rehabbing, baby, in AAA with Lehigh Valley. Orion Kerkering, I actually think today, as we record, is getting his first Iron Pigs toss. Zach Wheeler over the weekend had one of the funniest promotions ever because of his thoracic outlet syndrome. The Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs decided to do an unlimited ribs night, which is hilarious. So whoever came up with that, I mean, the tip of the cap. It's so good. But so, let's get to the roster, Marshall. So
all right.
We're going to start with catcher, and that's where we're going to talk about maybe the biggest absentee, which is Garrett Stubbs. He is not on the roster. It was JT Realmuto and Rafael Marchand, just like last year. Now, my heart was in my throat because he has to go on waivers.
Yeah.
Okay. And thank the Lord, he cleared the waivers.
Yeah. So
he is in AAA, our glue guy. I don't know if you read this development, Marshall.
Okay.
When Yohan Rojas got hit for the performance-enhancing drug suspension, there was talk about transitioning Garrett Stubbs into a center fielder.
That's crazy.
I love it. I don't think I've ever had any athlete, like professionally speaking, who I've loved more and who has underperformed more. Like, like the fact of the matter is Garrett Stubbs hasn't done like a whole lot at the major league level.
No.
But he's hilarious.
The vibes are great.
Fun. Yeah, he's fun to watch. He's a glue guy. I love him so much. So I'm anything to get that guy. And the thing that really makes me mad is Dylan Moore made the roster.
Mm-hmm.
And that's probably the right call. Like if you're Topper, that's the right call.
Yeah.
But if he didn't get signed, we could have seen Garrett Stubbs, the center fielder. We could have seen it. I was
out there hitting one triple every 20 at bats.
Yeah, that World Baseball Classic was just so perfect. Like he went like 1 for 17.
Yeah.
With a triple. It's just like he's not going to do much, but what he does is going to be electric. It's like it's Garrett Stubbs. That's why he's so fun, and that's why I'm so happy he cleared waivers. I was honestly surprised one of those teams like the Athletics or something like that didn't just take a flyer on him.
For depth.
Pirates.
For depth alone.
Right. Yeah. Like because he's listen, he's not a starting caliber catcher, but he is a backup caliber catcher at the major league level.
Yeah.
Can pinch run. How many catchers can pinch run?
Not too many.
So like I'm really shocked no one took a flyer on him. But I'm happy about it. We did touch on Dylan Moore. The other big one, which we kind of saw coming, was Justin Crawford making that opening day roster at Marshall. He was the team's youngest starting outfielder on opening day since 1972.
Crazy. Crazy. And he has performed, we'll get into it, but
How,
he has
how
performed
about it? Like
incredibly well so far.
I think all these top prospects always have like a lot of weight on their shoulders to perform.
Right.
But because of the scenario that surrounded him, like with signing Garcia,
Hmm.
letting go of Castellanos, I think there was so much noise around
Yeah.
that he kind of got to fly in like
All
as
right.
under the radar as you can.
Right.
And I mean, we don't really need him to blow the doors off, and he's not really, but like he's playing really solid.
He is. Yeah.
And go ahead.
His glove has been good, and what we saw from him in that come from behind victory
Oh,
yesterday was nothing short of heroic for a rookie player. Getting that walk off RBI. He's not hitting the ball in the air that often, but when he's making contact, he's finding the gaps, and sometimes that's all it takes. He's still, he's able to round those bases real quickly. Having him on the base paths is a threat, and I just love the approach. The first that bat that he takes, he gets his first hit, and it's just go up there, swing at the first pitch. Don't
yeah,
wait, just attack it. And that's really been so far the formula for him. Go up there. It's almost like you don't know what you don't know at this age, right? You're not going to
right.
overthink it. Can I make contact with this ball? If yes, can I find a gap in the defense? Defenses may end up, shifting him, learning his the gaps that he's hitting as time progresses. But right now, it's paying off for him in a big way, and
Yeah,
for the Phillies.
he's doing everything that Johan Rojas didn't.
Yeah,
Like he's putting the ball in play, not in
mhm.
the air,
Yeah,
right? He's not making dumb errors defensively.
yeah,
He's just this is what you wanted from Johan Rojas. And you're getting it in a kid with maybe a little bit more of a ceiling
yeah.
than Rojas gave. And the thing that I'm so impressed by is like you said, his approach
Hmm.
is so mature.
Yeah.
Like I think with like a lot of younger players, they'll get jumpy
Get in their head. Yeah,
or they'll overthink it and they won't swing at anything, until there's two
right.
strikes on. And he's very selective, which you don't really see a lot of rookies have. Uh, but at the same time, when that ball's in the zone, he's like, yeah, I'm swinging at that infield in, game on the line,
Yeah.
and he just smokes it.
Boom.
It was just a really well hit ball in a huge spot for a
Hmm.
kid that what is he like 20 or 21 years old? Like he's so far ahead of the curve that I think we have as Phillies fans have a lot to be excited about.
I think so too. And you mentioned that, the closest thing we have to compare him to is Johan Rojas. And the thing that Johan Rojas has lacked, and while there have been defensive errors, he has also made some web gems out there. So we
Oh
can't
yeah,
we can't deny like the speed and athleticism and the acrobatic ability that he brings to the center field position. You
right.
see that in Justin Crawford too. But as you mentioned, the bat getting going is so crucial,
Oh,
especially for a team that has been so sluggish to start the year. I think he has really provided some juice, and you saw it, I think, in that reaction to him hitting that single to win the game.
yeah,
The players storming the field, coming out to celebrate with him. But I think that in part of that celebration was like, oh, we're going to celebrate this rookie. This is a big moment for him. But also, you felt like already there might be some development of some mutual respect for him,
right.
and that he's going to come in the clutch in these big moments. Potentially, he's been a contributor, and you can't say that for everybody up and down this lineup. Let's look at the
I
infield here.
don't wanna.
The big the big question marks for me. You had Edmundo Sosa, who made an incredible play or series of plays in that game yesterday to first of all get the Phillies in position to even tie the game down
Right.
5-1. A big hit there, and then an opportunity to turn a double play in the top of the 10th to make it an easy bottom half of the inning there with no runs on the board. It
Right.
only takes a single, really, a good single to score a run in that
Mhm.
position. If you're the Nationals, and Edmundo Sosa with a nice Nice play there, heads up play to get it over to second and get it to Turner for the double play. Set up the table nicely for the Phils there. But the guy I want to talk about is Bryce Harper.
Oh, I
And
don't want to, Marshall.
I know I don't want to talk about it either, but he got called out by the general manager
Hmm.
over the summer, and there were some statements out there. He's not elite, and he made light of it a few times and spoke about it on some podcasts. Oh, I'm not elite anymore. I'm not elite anymore. If we're looking at the numbers, and outside of yesterday when he had that home run, if we're looking at the numbers, he has done very, very little to contribute to this Phillies starting offense, and
Yeah,
I think that is worrisome for sure. But it would be less worrisome for me if, let's say, last year we had seen consistency, right? And we had seen in the playoffs a consistent bat from Bryce Harper. We didn't see that. I'm worried this can be a continuation of some of the struggles that happened late in the year for Bryce Harper. What are you thinking?
yeah. So the thing that I was really hoping for was that he would use that World Baseball Classic as like a springboard for this season.
Yeah.
The problem is he stunk in the World Baseball Classic,
Yep.
and then you get like the whatever the reverse of a springboard would be. It'd be like a drag down
Mm-hmm.
as you go into the year because he's like, oh, like I was in this competitive mode and I wasn't performing. Now he did hit 2 big home runs, but that was like all he did.
Yeah.
And it it's early, and I want to say like Harper needs to be the guy. That's why we signed him and pay him all this money. But
Right.
at the same time, like all of our stars aren't performing. Like
You're right.
all of them.
Yep.
Here's a list of all of the Phillies hitting under 200 right now. Granted, I know it's early. I get it.
Yeah.
But under 200, JT, Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, Alec Bohm.
Yeah. That's your
I'm
core.
That's the entire. That's all. Well, minus Bohm. Those four guys are making all that money, and
Yeah.
Bohm's in a contract year.
Right.
So, like, those are the guys you would bank on performing.
Yeah.
Instead, we're getting all our production from Brandon Marsh
Right.
and Justin Crawford
I know.
and Adolis Garcia,
Yeah.
who I don't know about you, coming in, I was like, that guy's not really gonna, solve all our problems.
Yeah, I agree.
But right now, he's like the only guy consistently hit it.
I agree.
So, this is tough, man. If not for the performance of Crawford and one Andrew Painter, who we'll get into a little later, I'd be hugely concerned right now.
I mean, I still, if yesterday didn't go the way that it did, I think this is a deflated clubhouse after two series.
Oh yeah,
I think this is a demoralized and soul-searching clubhouse, especially Jake coming off a year in which you were saying again, right? We talked about philosophy all summer or all winter here.
Mm-hmm.
What is your philosophy going into this year? The philosophy is we want to win a World Series. Last year's philosophy is we want to win a World Series. We put the pieces in place. We believe we have the pieces in place to make a World Series run. You can't do it. You don't do it. You don't change that much. Honestly, looking at
this is the same lineup minus
this is the
Adolis
same
Garcia.
lineup other than Justin Crawford and Adolis Garcia.
Yeah.
Those are the two. This is the exact same lineup, picture perfect, same thing. And your results so far are 3-3 with a series win against a Washington franchise that who knows where they're going to be by the end of the season. They don't have stars outside of Woods. I mean, Woods and the shortstop
CJ Abrams.
Yeah. You're not going up against the Dodgers here.
And the problem is we barely won that series.
I know.
Barely.
I know.
And listen, I always like to hang my hat on the Charlie Manuel saying of hitting season, and it is not hitting season.
Right.
And listen, if I still think Charlie Manuel is the best manager we've ever had, and if he's willing to say like guys just don't hit in April and he's okay with that, maybe I should be okay with it too. But with how like veteran our lineup is, I just expected so much more, I think. And you can live with a lack of hitting if there's pitching. Unfortunately, we haven't really gotten that either. Christopher Sanchez has been stellar. Andrew Painter just had one of the best MLB debuts I can remember for a while for starting pitcher for us.
Yeah.
But other than that, Taijuan Walker, Marshall,
was
atrocious.
Oh boy. What's his ERA? 11?
I don't even know. Like, if it was an abacus, it would just tilt over because they just like give up. I don't know. I get why we had to take a gamble with him because there is no Zach Wheeler. When Zach Wheeler comes back, honestly, just cut him because he is atrocious. There is nothing in there when I watch him pitch that I can like hold on to as competency in the slightest.
Yeah, I agree. It is 11.57.
Oh my goodness,
Jake.
I was wondering. We were bottom 5 in ERA, and that's probably why that him and one or two. Who was that reliever that came in against the National? He probably didn't help matters.
No, he didn't.
Yeah,
I think there's some real question marks with Walker, but I think we knew that coming in to the season. That's the question mark. The thing that I was surprised by is that Luzardo seemed to have such a difficult time too. Yeah. And you know, we saw that from Nola a little bit, but Nola has been so up and down. I wasn't expecting anything.
And he like we talked about hitting season. Nola hates April. I mean, he's always, even when he was on top of his game, he was garbage in April. So that one I'm not concerned about. Yeah. Luzardo, you're right. That's a little more concerning because if he doesn't get going and Wheeler doesn't come back for a little while yet, like we're relying on number 1 and number 5 in our rotation, which is not great. It's not how you want to live.
And you always wonder psychologically, Jake, does a big contract make you complacent at times? You get comfortable, you feel, I've arrived, I'm here. Is he feeling the pressure? Is he just, I can chill, I can rest on my laurels here? Which do you think it is here?
My dad, shout out to Papa Jim. He is convinced that's a thing. Like he is absolutely convinced that when these guys get that fat extension that they just automatically just shut down. I don't buy it. I really don't. I wonder if Luzardo might have like a bit of like Nola-itis. Just, you know, because he was in Miami all those years. You know what I mean? It's warm in April down there. You're pitching in 75 and sunny in April. And that's just, you know, when it's 50 and windy, you know, I think these guys that aren't used to that, i.e. Nola, and Nola should be used to it by now. He just never got used to it. Yeah. But guys like Nola, maybe a guy like Luzardo, who spent a lot of his career in Miami, might just not adjust to it well. And as much of an excuse as that is, I just think it might be the case. I hope it's the case, Marshall, because like you said, we can't expect to go anywhere when you're only getting good starting pitching out of 1 and 5. It's just not going to happen. In particular, when the Marlins are crushing it right now, which is not great. They were the one team I thought we wouldn't have to worry about. But you know, the Mets are finally gonna be the Mets. It seems, and the Braves are always good. It's just the division's going to be a dogfight. We need these guys to step up.
We do. Well, let's get to the rest of the roster here. Some familiar faces in Alvarado. Welcome back after the PED. Tanner Banks early has had some struggles.
Concerning. Yeah.
Jonathan.
Our lefties. What's happening with the lefties?
I don't know. Kyle Backus, Jonathan Bolin, Brad Keller, another new face.
Keller looked good. And he looked like garbage in the World Baseball Classic, so I was concerned. But he looked good against the Nats. He's a guy that I wasn't really worried about. Like he's got the stuff. He's like, you know, when Alvarado takes those dips, and you're just like, he'll figure something out soon because his stuff's too good. That's how I feel with Keller. But a
Yeah.
guy like Tanner Banks, I'm less like I'm less gung ho about in terms of like being convinced he's going to figure it out because he
Agreed.
doesn't have that like shutdown stuff.
Yeah.
He's got a pitch.
Yeah.
And maybe he doesn't like the cold weather. Who knows? But yeah, he like because we picked him over Matt Strom. That adds a little pressure on him. Like you got to
Definitely.
perform, buddy. We picked you over a guy that was really really solid for us.
Definitely. And then rounding out with Tim Meza, Zach Pop. This Phillies bullpen has been maligned to
Oh
start the
yeah.
year.
Mm-hmm.
It has been handoff from relatively even the decent starts from the Phillies rotation. There have been handoffs to the bullpen that have gone very sour very quickly.
Yep.
And so you get concerned. I mean, the pitching rotation, the starting pitchers, obviously some question marks there with Walker and right now at least Luzardo, but you don't feel much more comfortable once you get to the bullpen right now, unless it's Alvarado or Duran.
Yeah, but I feel like for the first time in a long time, the Phillies have like a two-faced bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
If we are winning, I feel really confident we're going to continue to win. Because, excuse me, if you look at the guys who are going to come in when we're winning, you're looking at Brad Keller,
Yeah.
Jose Alvarado,
Yeah.
and Duran.
Yeah.
So, like, I mean, name me a better
Right.
trio in the MLB than those
Right.
guys. The problem is when we're not winning, the rest of these guys, like,
Toss up.
I just feel like you have to get good starting pitching in order
Yeah.
to justify bringing in those three top guys,
Yeah.
and that's the only way you're going to hold games. Because like if we're relying on Zach Pop, no offense to Zach Pop, Backus looked awful.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's one. I'm very rarely that confident in the top end of the bullpen, but I am also very rarely this not confident in the bottom half. Normally, we have like a very condensed bullpen. That ain't the case this year. I feel like I'm trying to think of a good example, like the Braves back in the day, where they had like Smoltz and those kind of guys at the back end. But if you were up a run or two, they'd bring in this garbage, and you'd be able to jump that lead out to 5 or 6. That's how I feel like we're going to operate this year.
Yeah.
And I'm fine with that if our starting pitching gets solved. But right now, I'm not fine with it. I don't know about you.
Yeah, when Kyle gets on the mound, I'm like, back us out of this situation, huh, Jake?
Hey,
yeah, no, it's uncomfortable to say the least.
Yeah.
Especially when you go to those guys like you mentioned, Banks. I don't know. Jury's still out for me on Banks. There were signs at points last year that things could be okay. This most recent sighting of Tanner Banks has not been a good sighting.
Right.
I don't think I know enough about Zach Pop to really make a judgment so far. And Backus, yeah, as I mentioned, I just, you're right. With this stable of relievers, you are putting a lot of weight on those starters to really perform, to keep you in games. But none of this really matters, Jake, unless the offense can get it going. And are there reinforcements coming for the offense?
I mean, I don't even know if we can call this a reinforcement.
Yeah.
So we signed Carter Kieboom.
Okay.
So if you're a prospect watcher, you're like, oh my God, Carter Kieboom. He was like one of the most highly touted catching prospects on the planet when he came up.
Right.
And unfortunately, he got drafted by the Nationals, which
instant destroy.
Right.
Career.
Because the problem is they didn't have any top end talent. So they like flung him through the minors.
Right.
And he's hitting MLB pitching in his like second or third year. And he didn't do well. He hit 200 or something like that, right around the Mendoza line in the big leagues. And then he just kind of wallows into like mediocrity. I wonder now we signed him to a straight up minor league deal. Like he's not even sniffing the big leagues.
Right.
I wonder if maybe that takes a little bit of pressure on off of him. He gets a chance to hit AAA pitching. Maybe if he can reach the heights that was anticipated of him,
Yeah.
that might be like the signing of the century.
Yeah.
It's
He's
just
a
a
big
big
name.
if. It's
Yeah, he's a big
it's a
name.
big name and it's a big if because he didn't really get at the plate. Now defensively, he's fantastic, but at the plate, he just didn't really give scouts anything to look for at the plate, and that's why we got him for so cheap. We just got him
Right.
for cash. It wasn't
Right.
even a player swap. So um, it could be an incredible boon down the line, but I wouldn't go banking on him to make a difference this year. We need our guys that we're paying a ton of money, by the way, to step up.
Yeah, we definitely do. And I think it starts, unfortunately, with Bryce Harper, just because he sets the tone in the locker room. This is
Yeah.
his team. This is his franchise. He's the face on this. I know that Schwarber's out there, cracking 500-foot home runs and stuff, but he's not playing the field. He's not the, leader in the clubhouse. It's everybody's looking at Bryce, and the question is, can Bryce return to the heights that he once experienced in his career?
Yeah.
There's some positive news since we spoke last. We talked about the Phillies pitching rotation, but one guy is locked down for a lot longer,
Yeah.
and that is Christopher Sanchez. He's here till 2032, Jake.
That's not a real year.
Right.
It's like that's fake. That's like Back to the Future stuff. Yeah, I honestly it couldn't have happened to a better, more consistent pitcher.
Yeah.
The thing that I love about him is that you know what you're going to get. Like he doesn't have those blow up games.
Yeah.
His changeup's so good that it's like impossible to really hit him around. He'll give up homers now and again, but he's just so solid. It's one of those maybe I'm old fashioned, or maybe I just have trouble comprehending the amount of money these guys get paid now. But every time I see these massive extensions, I don't know if you saw, by the way, I'm going to get off on a tangent. The Pirates called up this shortstop. I forget his name, but hasn't swung an MLB bat yet, and they signed him for a 9-year deal.
Wow.
Yeah. What is happening? You know what I mean? and it's not like I think the AAV was between like 10 and 15 million. Like it's not like he's making like pennies and they locked him down for that long. No, he's making bank, and he just got called up. He has not swung a bat at the MLB level yet.
Unreal.
So like what in this environment, right? When I look at stuff like that, and I look at us paying JT all that money for being a 34-year or 35-year-old catcher, I'm like, I can't believe we're doing this. Yeah. This is one where I'm like, pay the guy, pay him whatever he wants.
Yeah,
because he's worth it. You know what you're going to get, and I know that's a way too long of a contract for an arm for a starting pitcher, but he's not a fireballer. He's not a guy that is going to tail off that hard towards the end of his career because he relies on off speed, which is good for longevity. So I'm really thrilled that he's going to be around a while. Hopefully we have baseball next year and we don't get locked out and we're not paying him to not play baseball. I hope we get to see him pitch consistently until 2032, and I'm thrilled that he's sticking around.
Yeah, his off-speed stuff, you mentioned it, but it is nasty, and it was making the Nationals look pretty foolish as of late.
And the Rangers.
And the Rangers, too.
Yeah.
The thing, Jake, you mentioned it, but the thing that does worry me a little bit about this deal is that 2032, the guy's going to be 35 years old when this thing wraps up.
Oh, yeah.
It's a similar conversation to me as the one we were having about JT Realmuto, but it just seems like more. It's such a pivotal part of the franchise. I mean, not the catcher isn't, a pivotal part of any franchise. But to have an arm like that and invest in them for that length of time, the Phillies are putting their money where their mouth is and saying, this is our guy. We're going to stick with him. I understand why, but I was thinking maybe 2030, right? Like a 4-year extension would have been
But
the
they gave
going
to
rate.
Luzardo, right?
Yeah.
Like that was like kind of like a standard extent, not standard because it was a lot of money and it
Yeah.
was a long time. But like
Yeah.
in the new environment, you're like that's
Right.
kind of becoming the new standard. But I think I think this goes to show. I think when you look at the landscape of Major League Baseball, it shows you where the scarcity is.
Mm-hmm.
Where has Dave Dombrowski and Middleton put their money? Starting pitching.
Yep.
We extended Nola for way too much money.
Yep.
We extended Sanchez, not for way too much money. I think he's worth it. But then we extended Luzardo for way too much. So and if Wheeler didn't sound so hell-bent on retiring, he would probably get an extension too.
I would think so. Yeah.
So like 3 of your starting pitchers locked down.
Yeah.
So and you look across the league, there are just far fewer of those like really top pitchers in the league now. You know what I mean? Sorry, my dog agrees, by the way. Very upset.
Toast is here for what Jake's putting down. I agree. I think the number, the figure kind of scares me because, we're seeing now the back end of Wheeler's career. Not that could have been avoided in any way, but we don't know how long he's going to be out for. We've seen Nola for stretches just be out with injury. Again, it's an investment. The older these guys get, the longevity, is it going to be there? Are they going to be able to play 162 games or well, like, I don't know, 50 starts or whatever it's going to be throughout the course of the year, less than that. But every 3 days they pitch. But that
would be unreal, by the way.
It would be crazy output. But can you get that out of a Christopher Sanchez? We're of course going to see. I think right now, though, he's the hot hand. He is the best we got. Lock him down. I like that philosophy, but I do worry about the longevity there.
Yeah.
But last thing we'll talk about here on the Phillies side of things, Jake, is a little glimpse at the possible future for the Phillies. And we got that in the debut of Andrew Painter, who was painting the corners, Jake, of the plate on his debut. I was thoroughly impressed with the way he handled himself. And again, he and Crawford, the moment doesn't look too big for these guys to start out their careers. And that's what you want to see early.
The thing so I am not about to say that the fact that Painter had to get Tommy John surgery is a good thing. It's a horrible thing. He was electric before that surgery, and now he still has a live arm, but it's not that 1% Paul Skeens level arm,
right?
That he was showing before that. But what it did was it made him learn how to pitch.
Mm-hmm.
And you see so many of these guys come up with these, with this insane stuff and get knocked around at the major league level. He had to learn how to pitch in the minors because he lost 4 or 5 miles an hour on his fastball.
Right.
And that's, again, it's sad. I wish he didn't have to go through that and all that, that rehab that he had to do, I'm sure was awful. But what it did was so beneficial, I think, for the outlook of his career, because he's a guy, I don't know if you heard in the broadcast, they were JT had mentioned how he came to JT ahead of the start with like a playbook on how to attack these guys. That is not something that is normal for 20-something-year-old kids making their MLB debut. It's just not. It's not a thing that you see very often. JT mentioned it because of how rare it is. And on top of that, he got Tommy John, but it's not like his arm's dead. He still gets the fastball up there when he wants to.
Right.
His off-speed stuff still moves a ton. Mm-hmm. If he can keep himself healthy we might have the next version of Aaron Nola, like
Yeah.
a guy that might be on this team for a decade,
Right.
which is really exciting because you don't really get that a lot anymore in Major League Baseball. It's just not around a lot,
No.
especially in a pitcher. If he just keeps up, like he doesn't even need to be Zach Wheeler, right? If he just provides starts like he just did, just hitting the corners, missing barrels, like that is such a commodity. Like we talked about, it's such a scarcity in the MLB now.
Absolutely.
Solid starting pitcher. That's like finding gold. I mean, it really is, and I really hope we get to see it for years and years and years.
I agree. He gave up some singles, he gave up a few hits there, but it didn't really rattle him. That was the other thing that I liked is
Yeah,
just he
good
stayed
call.
he stayed in the zone and he was able to take his lumps because I mean even the best pitchers in this league are going to give up a 4 or 5
Oh yeah,
hit game. I mean, it's not that's or you're going to give up a home run or whatever
right.
it is. It's how do you respond? How do you bounce back from those things? How do you keep the focus and keep the drive as you're going throughout those innings? I thought it was really impressive. It was fun watching his family
Yeah, that was cool.
and the Phillies home fans really gave him a warm congratulatory round of applause
Yeah,
after Topper pulled him. But man, I just in terms of uh, the sky's the limit for that kid. You
right,
gotta you
right.
gotta you gotta taste of that. And exciting things for the Phillies in what has otherwise been a less than exciting start
Yeah.
to the season here. 3-3 with some series coming up here. Jake, who's next?
So we have a Western road trip.
Got it.
We got the Diamondbacks, we got the Giants, and I hate these Western road trips,
Yeah,
but I also feel like it might be good that we're hitting it right now. Um, because like you're not getting like the finely tuned version of the Western teams. You know, you're
yeah,
getting just this like we are kind of scuffling early on trying to find your footing. Whereas if you go out there in June or July and they're all humming out there, and then you have to deal with the time change and all that stuff
right.
that we all know that the Phillies don't deal with very well.
Yeah,
It just doesn't usually go well. And it's the same for the other side. You know, when they come over here, it's the same way. It's just tough.
right.
Um, but I feel like it's much closer to parity this early in the season. Hopefully, listen, if we come out of this road trip at 500, I'll be happy as a clam. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I could see it being a tough one. As you mentioned, the trips are never easy, and I think there's to some extent a little bit of knocking the rust off for
Right.
these guys, especially these guys. You know, they're it's not that the MLB season is all that grueling and that the postseason adds that much more wear and tear, but it does a little bit. And the Phillies have been in consecutive postseason runs, and they might not be as mentally geared up for these early, especially the first Western road trip of the
Right.
year. It is maybe it might be like, hey, I'm feeling a little lethargic, or that extra couple hours of flight time combined with the time change might get to him a little bit. At least it's not the dead of summer, as you mentioned, because that heat, especially in
Yeah.
Arizona, can really get to you. I'm excited to see if some guys can bounce back, if we can get the bats going a little bit. But yeah, I would be happy. I'd be comfortable with a 500 or a little bit better out of this. I'm not expecting that to be necessarily the case. I actually
Yeah.
think that they're going to come out of this a little under 500, but we're still early. We're getting things rolling, and there's a lot more baseball to be played. Exciting
Yeah.
times.
Yeah. I hope this is where the guys that were in the World Baseball Classic might have a little bit of an edge because if you think about it, they were essentially on a huge road trip.
Right.
That entire series was down south. So
Yeah.
maybe they'll feel a little bit more comfortable in that kind of foreign environment
Hmm.
because they just had to deal with it for 2 or 3 weeks, whatever it was. So looking at you, Harper, looking at you, Schwarber.
And
Um,
Turner.
and well, no, Turner didn't play this year because the coach of the World Baseball Classic, Team USA, Mark DeRosa, is an idiot.
Oh,
Because the guy just won a batting title last year. Why would you want him on Team
stupid.
USA?
Yeah.
Let alone the fact that he hit a clutch home run last time. But whatever.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
tangent.
Okay.
But yeah. So yeah, like I said, I hope those guys step up here in this Western road trip, and we can get a couple of dubs. I want to move across the street,
All right, let's
Marshall,
do it.
because there's an interesting development for everyone on AJ Brown watch, like we are. So the Eagles signed this guy Elijah Moore,
Yeah.
and everyone's freaking out on social media. I'm going, Marshall, like I don't know who the heck this guy is. So
Yeah.
I go and look him up. He's like a journeyman. He's with the Jets, the Browns, the Bills, and then he gets cut and he gets signed with the Broncos practice squad. I'm like, why does everyone care about Elijah Moore? He just
Right.
sounds like just an average guy that's going to get cut in preseason or something. And then I find out that he plays at Mississippi State in college. And then I find out that he was AJ Brown's roommate.
Yeah. So that's a reason to bring him.
Right. So, like, what other purpose would the Eagles have? Right after, by the way, we just signed Hollywood Brown.
Yeah.
Who's like electric speed, downfield guy,
Agree.
like that, almost a certain lock for wide receiver 3.
I would think so.
Right after we sign him, we go and get Elijah Moore. By all intents and purposes, one of AJ Brown's closest friends.
Yeah.
Is that not the surest sign that we're keeping AJ Brown?
I think it's, if nothing else, it's a dangling carrot in front of AJ Brown. I think it's an enticement for AJ Brown. Come on back, buddy. We're going to make this a welcoming, exciting, friend-filled environment for you. Maybe you're not the best friends with Jalen Hurts that you once were.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to bring one of your pals into the locker room, and we're going to get you some reinforcements on the outside with Hollywood Brown. Another Brown in the bunch. Perfect. And we're already rolling out the red carpet for you when it comes to, making sure that you're loved and you're cared for here. And yes, we got you
ridiculous.
We got you a new offensive coordinator, AJ. Everything's gonna be okay, AJ. We promise.
He hates hitch routes. He hates them.
Just turn the page to harken back to your days reading that book on the sideline. Just turn the page.
Right. Yeah.
In this optimism book, please.
Good call, Marshall. I always said times were better when AJ Brown was on the self-help books.
Yeah.
And we should just get back to it. I mean,
we should.
What ain't broke, you shouldn't fix. The thing I want to talk about too is, like, we also have Darius Cooper, who is like the perpetually impressive preseason player that we never seem to give any chance to in the regular season. Yeah. So, like, I just feel like this guy is just doomed for the practice squad.
Right.
So I just kind of question, like I said, other than here, AJ Brown, here's your best bud. Like, what is this for? And then here's my other question for you, Marshall. If what I think is going to happens and he ends up on the practice squad, what if somebody signs him? Like, what happens then? Is it like, is AJ Brown just going to be like completely okay with that? I don't think so.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But here's my my theory on this, Jake. I don't know if the Eagles are as confident in Hollywood Brown's ability to get to the field as
I didn't think about that,
because he's had a string of injuries that have held him back. At one point with the Ravens, like, he was kind of their number one guy. He was their go-to guy. To have Devontae Smith, Hollywood Brown, and AJ Brown on the same field is kind of crazy to me. Yeah. But I also think if they're looking toward the future and AJ Brown is not there, they wanted some insurance. Who could be a good wide receiver too for this team? Potentially a Hollywood Brown. So I think that's the key is what is a Hollywood Brown? If Hollywood Brown can't get to the point where he's starting for you every Sunday, He's not, having the injury bug all the time, as
Right.
sometimes hits these smaller receivers. Thankfully, Devontae Smith has not been subject to those sorts of, knock on wood, injuries to this point in his career. But just with a guy of that size, you expect it. It's just a very physical position to be playing.
Right.
You can avoid some of those because of his speed, but again, if it's not Hollywood Brown, okay, who's your third option? You got Elijah Moore there. Then you're
Right.
you're
Right.
looking at Moore in the slot for a good option. And if it's not AJ Brown, then it's Hollywood Brown as your number 2 wide receiver and Elijah Moore in the slot. So
Yeah.
it could go either way. For me, I think it's more of a sign that the Eagles want to keep AJ Brown and are making it easy to try to keep AJ Brown, making AJ
Right.
almost want to come back and be a part of this team. I go back to that podcast, Jake, where he was saying, "Look, listen, I'm kind of excited about this change at offensive coordinator. Like, it's a turn the page moment. It's
Yeah.
a fresh start sort of a thing." Um, I, and I know that he has to be a post June 1 cut
Yeah.
because of the way that the salary cap structure is. I don't know that that's going to happen. Um, uh, we really, I think we'll learn a lot potentially during the draft too.
True. Yeah.
What way do the Eagles move? But I think I take it as a positive, Jake. I'm trying to be positive about this. I take it as a positive that Elijah Moore is here. So that's me.
Speaking of added pieces, Marshall, we did something that I just did not see coming at all.
Yeah.
We went out and traded for, now granted, it was only a 7th round pick, but traded for 3-time Pro Bowler, the
Yes.
Red Rifle,
The Red Rifle.
Andy Dalton from
Yeah.
the Panthers. And here's why I'm so confused. Not because I don't think Andy Dalton has a lot to offer. I think he does. But we have, according to some people, the best backup quarterback in the league
Right.
in Tanner McKee.
Mhm.
So what's happening there? I'm thinking maybe they're shopping him around for a trade. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, I think that could easily be the case. And I don't know. So let's go back to the last time that Tanner McKee appeared on a football field. It didn't necessarily go very well.
Yeah.
And I mean, it wasn't like he was horrible. It wasn't like he stunk, but it was not the top flight, high flying performance that you saw in the previous season against the
Right.
Cowboys, where it was like, oh, this guy's like, he's got it, right?
Yeah.
They struggled. And do I think that a lot of that was still the offensive structure and him not having all the ones on the field? I mean, it was Devontae
Right.
Smith out there by himself for a time, and he was fine with him. And then after that
Yeah,
happened,
he was hitting Devontae Smith with everything, and then he took him off. And I do want to point out that like it was him with all the other backups playing the other
absolutely,
team's one defense.
exactly.
So
He's
but
at a
still,
disadvantage. But
Right.
I'm wondering, Jake, I'm wondering if the Eagles are like, his stock is not going to get higher than it
Right.
is right now. And if
Right.
we prolong this, we slow play it and we say, all right, roll the dice, see who's got an offer for us at the end of this season. Maybe he's got 2 or 3 more starts under his belt via some injuries or what have you. And he stinks in those 2 or 3 more starts. Then it's like,
Right.
you're going to get a lot less for this player. So it's almost to the Eagles' advantage that people know so little about him, and what little they do know about him has been overwhelmingly positive.
Right. The tape that he put against the Cowboys and the Giants. Right.
Yeah, and here's the other thing about the Andy Dalton move to me. This almost feels like an insurance policy on your offensive coordinator in a way.
Oh, interesting.
Andy Dalton has been in a lot of offenses. He has been in a
Yeah.
lot of different systems. He has been around this league for a long time. The Eagles need people like, you think back to the Josh McCown. They felt like they had, I think at that stage, this is the comparison for me. At that stage, they felt like Carson Wentz needed somebody else in that locker room that he would listen to, that he would respect.
Right.
They would
Right.
look at it as, this is the journeyman guy that knows how to play this position that I can look up to and say, yeah, I've seen him go out and do that. I'm going to listen to, like, and the coaches can get in that guy's ear and be like, listen, Carson Wentz is not being receptive to what we're saying. Can you like
Yeah.
subtly push him in this direction? And I don't know if that's going to
Interesting.
work on Jalen Hurts, but I have a feeling that another voice, another expert in the room is kind of what
Right.
the Eagles are looking for. We need more experience. We need that guy who's going to be, here's what I did before,
Right.
especially with an offensive coordinator, another quarterback. It's just going to be every
Yeah.
quarterback, put your head in the room
Yeah.
here and let's see what
uh,
we can come up with.
I want to, while we're on the topic, I want to address, I don't know if you've seen the reports coming out about Mr. Hertz
I
and
have.
the tension that, I'm not going to lie, my conspiracy theory brain's firing. Almost
Mm-hmm.
seems like a little bit of like self-inflicted tension on the part of the Eagles,
Yeah.
to kind of disclose the fact that the crucial play of the season, the that when everything's on the line against the 49ers, that they are saying Jalen Hurts was complicit in the four verts call, which might have been the worst play call of all time.
Yeah. Very bad.
Um, it's tough to tell because it's all kind of like he said, she said kind of stuff about who exactly made it. Like some people are saying it was the OC who said, "What do you think about four verts?" And Hurst just kind of said yes. And if it went down like that, it's the coach's job to call the plays. If I'm the
Right.
quarterback, I'm just going to call the play. I'm going to run
Yeah.
whatever play you
Yeah.
call. I think these people saying, Jalen Hurts should have told them to go otherwise. I don't know if I buy that.
Yeah.
But some other reports are saying he was the guy that was like, "Let's run four verts." And if that's the case, then I'm a little more skeptical, because then if you're the OC, then you're kind of going, well, if he wants to run this play, I got to let him run
Right.
it, because if he's not there's no conviction in what I call because he wants to run four verts, then that I don't know which it is,
Yeah.
but if it's that second one, I'm going, oh, I don't think Jalen Hurts is like a footballing genius by any means, but I hope he'd be smarter than let's run four verts. I don't know about you.
Yeah. I don't know. I could see it. I could see it a couple different ways. First of all, I could easily see I could easily see the Eagles' previous offensive coordinator just running four verts. I could see Patullo just saying,
That's exactly how I think it went down. Like
go
he just
four
said, "Hey
verts.
Jalen, what do you think? Like, you want to run four verts? Like, wouldn't that be cool?"
Do you want to
And
see how
Jalen's like,
far and how fast they can run down the
"Right."
field?
Like, and Jalen's like, "Oh, okay." That's how I
Sure.
think it went down. That's how I
But
hope it went
man,
down.
we watch. I'm sure you remember watching that shot of Jalen and Patullo and Sirianni in that
Yeah,
huddle right
he's got the
before that
red
play call.
pen.
Like, what do we do?
Yeah,
What do we do?
yeah,
And but that's so there's a problem there, Jake, and we've talked about that problem. But the problem is there should be a sense of direction from your head coach and your offensive
right,
coordinator in that moment, no matter what. And you should be able to usurp the will of your quarterback at any time and just
right.
say, you
Or
know
your
what, we're going to
OC,
do this, or your
or your
offensive
OC.
coordinator, and just say, all right, this is the situational play that we have drawn up for this. But I think more likely, Jake, is that this is an attempt by the Eagles to separate themselves from like there are sometimes organizations don't want to admit that they're wrong, don't want to admit that
Right,
they did a poor job at hiring an offensive coordinator. I think
right,
this is an attempt to separate themselves a little bit and be like, you know
right.
what, our player really wanted us to make this
Yeah.
call, but I just don't know why.
It just what
Who is
purpose
that
does it serve?
benefiting? Who is that
Right.
benefiting? That's not benefiting you as an organization all that
It,
much.
it's
I mean,
so
if you're trying
stupid.
to save face, like who are you saving face for? Like you just won a Super Bowl 2 years ago. Why does it matter that you at this moment in time did not beat the 49ers because it was a fourth down call that you didn't like and you're going to
Right.
blame it on your quarterback? And what message does that send to the quarterback if you're telling people this guy's a dunce,
Yeah,
actually?
right. It's
What
just
message
so
does that
petty.
send?
Listen, without this insider knowledge, my thinking is, oh, I blame the OC. The OC's gone. Problem solved.
Right.
Right.
Move
So it's
on.
like, why are you bringing it up again? You know what? It's just
Yeah.
I I
And
feel like this is just so like out of character for the Eagles organization. And I don't know, like, and again, I don't know how these reports started. Maybe it was just some journalist digging, and maybe it's BS. Who knows?
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
the problem with this kind of thing. But like, I, if there's any credence to it, it's just it's so aggravating.
But let's keep this all in context too, Jake. Remember how that drive specifically went. The Eagles had open receivers with their hands on the ball who
Right.
let it hit the
Who
ground.
drop it? Yeah. Right. Who
That's
AJ
not,
Brown? Who
yes,
drops it?
that's not a Jalen Hurts problem. I don't care what
Yeah.
the play call was on that fourth down. That's a wide receiver problem. That's an
Right.
execution problem for the wide
Right.
receiver. If you hit a wide receiver's hands in this league, they are supposed to catch that ball.
Right.
Don't then try to rewrite history on the
Right.
back
That's
end
that's a
and
great call.
say, you know
Yeah.
what, this was okay. Let's talk specifically about this play. Yeah, that was on our quarterback.
Right.
Think
Right.
about all the other things that happened in succession in that game that the Eagles could have done. How about the wide receiver or somebody doesn't let CMC leak out on that pitchback play that the
Right.
wide receiver now throws down the field to CMC? How about you've got Bond on him for that play or a safety back there with help, knowing that that is a type of play that the 49ers call. Like
Right.
you can do that blame game forever. You know what?
Right.
You know what? Here's the equivalent, Jake. Is after that game, there's a report that surfaces that one of the Eagles executives has now reported that Zach Bond called an audible at the line on that CMC touchdown. And we're supposed to blame Zach Bond
Right. Right.
for that play specific. Like
Yeah.
that again, what why
It
are
doesn't
we
serve a
doing
purpose.
that? Why are
And
we doing
to
that?
your point, why now? Why now?
Yes,
Why are we
yes.
doing this now?
I don't
Um,
know. I
yeah,
don't
it's just
know.
it's just aggravating. And honestly I hope it stops. I can't wait for the draft because like I feel like when the draft comes, all this garbage will die down and we
Yeah.
can all get excited about something. Um,
Yeah.
but until then, we're probably gonna have to keep dealing with is AJ Brown going to be traded and everybody hates Jalen Hurts and Jalen Hurts hates everybody. That's kind of
Right.
like those are the two like national storylines that just don't go away.
Yeah,
Um,
and I didn't understand, Jake. I want to go back to this for a second on the Jalen Hurts thing. I don't understand why everybody's dogging on Jalen Hurts and acting like he doesn't have any friends and acting like he doesn't cooperate with anybody or doesn't
yeah,
talk to anybody. Back to the Pro Bowl, even like the Pro Bowl games. Everybody's saying,
yeah,
"Oh, Jalen Hurts."
he's a great
There's a
guy.
report like, yeah, Jalen Hurts is a great guy, but he's walking, he's sitting at a restaurant. I forget who did. Emmanuel Acho or something had this report like, "Oh, Jalen Hurts wasn't sitting with anybody at the restaurant." It's like, dude's on his phone, like just chilling for a second. Like,
Right, leave him
give him a
alone.
stinking break, bro. He doesn't have to
Yeah.
be talking to everybody all the time. This guy's probably not. He's not the kind of guy to me that like loves the spotlight or wants the limelight or wants
Right.
to soak in all this attention. It's like a one-off appearance in a movie that somebody makes that now they're like super famous for it, or somebody gets really famous on TikTok because they posted something random. Sometimes they just
Right.
don't want it. Like, get out
Yeah.
of my face. Why are
Yeah.
you bothering me?
Right.
I think at certain points in Jalen Hurts' career, that has been his reality. Like
Right.
like great. I'm a Super Bowl winning quarterback. I've led the Eagles to their first Super Bowl where they started a season and ended the season with the same quarterback. Great. That's awesome. I was a, Heisman runner up. I was an MVP runner up. Like, I'm a big name, but like, just let me chill out, bro.
Right.
Like,
Let me eat dinner by myself because he's probably like this like insane introvert.
yeah.
And he like every press appearance, he's probably like, I just want everyone to go away.
Why do you think his
And
answers are like 3 words and he just
right,
repeats the
right.
same phrases over and over? Like, this guy doesn't want to talk to you or
Yeah.
anybody.
Or like insert cryptic thing that no one knows what it means so that like I think he's been doing that so that the journalists like have something to write about that like they can't really ask him about because they
Right.
feel weird asking like what the heck do you even mean.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so he's like, oh yeah, if I just say like something about like the lion beats the tiger or whatever, and then they're
Right.
like, oh okay, like we could write about lions and tigers now. And then he's like, oh good, that'll give him something to do for a week.
Yeah,
um
I don't envy the NFL players that especially the quarterbacks who have to sit at those podiums and answer the questions afterward because like and
Right.
especially in a city like Philadelphia where literally everyone's attention is on you at all
Right.
times. It's probably the place higher if there's higher scrutiny for that position than there is for the governor of
Yeah, yeah, oh,
Pennsylvania.
and it's not
Like
even close, by the
no,
way.
it's not
Like
even
it's not
close.
even remotely close. I because of my profession, I can say that with certainty that is not the case. Yeah, it is crazy, and you do feel for the guy because it's just like, what else do you want from him? I don't even like him that much, like as a quarterback.
Yeah.
And I'm like, the dude made the playoffs every year he's played.
He just wins, guys.
He just wins games. His two best games were in Super Bowls.
Yeah.
What more do you want? Like,
Right. And then a third, probably the runner up is like an NFC
right.
championship game.
And if we're stooping to criticizing him because he's not a good play caller, good thing he's a quarterback.
Yeah.
That is not his job.
No.
Let's move on.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll leave that there. But I do want to get into a couple of personnel things. The first of which is a certain thing, which is that Fred Johnson is back, our swing tackle that we let leave for like 2 weeks or something last season. That we brought him right back. I think he did such a great job with
filling in
our injuries last year to Lane Johnson, and I'm glad he's back. We don't know how Lane's going to hold up for this next season. He's getting another year older. He's always had injury woes, so I'm glad he's back. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I don't know if you give the 1 year deal. It seems fine to me, but I'm almost surprised they didn't lock him up for a couple. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's one of those things like the Eagles know the value of offensive line and specifically of guys who can play tackle. And they've seen that in successive seasons when they went to the Super Bowl back in 2017, 2018. It was a backup offensive tackle who they then traded for a good amount of comp on the back end. You can develop guys like that. I guess that's the philosophy though, is how he wants, if he has a really good season, how he wants to be able to be flexible and see, maybe I can get something for this guy. Maybe we can get some draft capital. Maybe I can, swing this swing tackle into something good. But I can't argue with the signing. Like it's he shored up the position when there were some definite question marks with Pryor and some others on that line. Brett Toth played better,
who is a guard?
Yes. It felt like that they needed that sort of depth piece, and a guy that's now been in this locker room for a few seasons, has the ring with the Eagles. You'd like to see him stay with this roster. I just think I think it's a smart move right now.
I'm with you on the length of term. I'm going to call my shot now. We'll probably, maybe next episode, we'll do like a deep dive into the draft.
Okay.
But I'm calling my shot. I think that's a 1 year deal because we're going tackle first round.
Okay. I could see that.
And what I think is going to happen is we're going to go tackle first round. Johnson's going to be the backup this year.
Yeah.
Right. And then if the worst happens and Lane Johnson retires, that this kid starts.
Yeah.
And if not, he'd be ready to be a backup at that point. That's what I think is going to happen.
Yeah, I could see that. But I also think that you have to start. Eventually, you have to think about Mailata's position too.
Right. He's been here a while.
You have to start thinking about who's going to come up in his shoes. I would agree though that I think offensive line in general is going to be a point of emphasis. But let's move across to the defensive line. The Eagles have made some moves and they have not made some other moves.
Yes.
One would be the biggest potential move of the offseason if it is to happen.
Oh, yeah.
And that would be a move to get Max Crosby, who signed with the Ravens or was going to be a Raven. Offered two first round picks to get him. And then nope, he is not going to the Ravens because of some medical reports that came out.
Phantom knee injury or something.
Yes. I'm wondering if that's still a possibility. Do you think 2 first-round picks is too heavy a price to pay?
Well, so here's what I want. I wonder if because of all of that garbage that happened, whether the Raiders would take less. You know what I mean? Like not that Max Crosby is any less of a Max Crosby than Max Crosby has always been, but
Right.
it's like, is he a little bit of a damaged good now
Mm-hmm.
because of, oh, well, the phantom doctor from Baltimore said that he has this hidden knee problem that somehow the Raiders doctor was
Wasn't
like,
aware of.
his surgeon came out and was like, he's fine, like
Yeah.
he's completely fine.
Yeah.
So there are talks that, getting back to the Eagles, what they did with Jair Alexander, maybe the Ravens just pulled the wool over their eyes and they said, oh, well, we could just, get a better offer for this guy and we'll go lock, what was it, Hendrickson, I think they signed.
Yep.
So, we'll just go get him and we'll pull some BS to get to dump this Crosby deal.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know how much credence you think there is to that, but they did get a better offer for Hendrickson. That's just how it went.
They did. And Jake, you have to remember, this is a move that is happening within the division. So not only is it an opportunity to get a really good player in Trey Hendrickson, but it's also an opportunity to,
steal someone from the Bengals. Yeah.
Tie the Bengals' hands behind their back a little bit.
Right.
So, I mean, maybe that was part of the equation, but it would just seem like some very shady dealings.
Yeah, just like the
the
Jair Alexander move.
Yeah,
though.
right.
Like,
exactly.
Which was super shady. Oh, he's fine, guys. Trust me, he's fine. He's fine.
Yeah.
Oh, you retired. Sorry.
Right.
What?
I don't know how that was allowed to happen, and the Ravens still got the comp for it. But
and kudos to Alexander for like paying the money back.
Yes.
That we get like that was a stand up move because clearly he feels like a victim in that. It feels like the Ravens used him as a pawn
a little bit
and probably screwed him up mentally more than he already was.
Yeah.
Because he's clearly going through some stuff to begin with, and then there's all this high profile movement to a Super Bowl contender. Like I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of teams just like cut the Ravens off. It's just like, don't deal with them. This is twice now.
I'm not going to take calls from Baltimore.
Right. Because why would you? Or are they going to have to pay like a tax because they've been shady? It's something to think about. I wonder though, because of that whole situation, can we get him for a first round and pick your position of need, Baltimore?
Right. Or a package of other picks. Let's say you throw like a third and a second something. Or whatever. And you staggered over different years. But the question to me is that even worth it? I mean, I know the kind of player that Max Crosby can be. And I know that the Eagles have a need at edge. Like this feels in a way, this would feel like a not as high stakes as this would be a higher stakes move, but it feels like almost a Hassan Reddick move if this were to happen.
Oh, interesting.
And I would worry a little bit about especially given these reports, whether they're true or not, who knows, but you worry about his longevity a little bit. And putting a figure on a guy like that, when you've already, committed so much money to these other guys.
Right.
Jordan Davis just got a big contract. You signed Zach Bond last year to a big contract. Where's this money going to start coming from? Woolen on the outside now, getting a little bit of money. You're just, I know that's such a crucial spot. I don't know if Crosby would be worth that money and then losing the draft capital because you have no way to backfill his position if he sucks.
Right. I just wonder, because you're right. Like he was hurt. Like let's put that aside. He got surgery. He was hurt.
Right.
So there's always like, is he going to come back the same guy?
Yeah.
That's the case with any professional athlete that gets seriously injured.
Right.
But you just wonder, hear me out, Marshall. What if the Ravens wanted AJ Brown? Is that something you'd be willing to entertain?
The Raiders?
The Raiders. The Raiders.
A player for player swap?
Yeah.
a
Yeah, what if they
LaShawn
just
McCoy for Kiko
right,
Alonso
right? What if
style
they just said
swap.
straight up, "Hey, give us AJ Brown. You can have Max Crosby." What are you doing? You taking it?
Man, that's tough, especially because now you have Hollywood Brown, who could be
Right. That's
something,
what I'm
and
saying. You've
Elijah
got
Moore, who could be
reinforcements.
something. That's a tough one. If okay, I think this would be easy for me. If uh this was 2023 or 2024, and this was an AJ Brown we knew was going to really succeed and was going to have high output, I would keep AJ Brown because of
Yeah.
the
Right. I'm
potential.
with you. But
Um,
it's not. It's
I
not 2023, Marsh.
but here's the other thing, Jake. I think teams might know that it's not 2023 and it's not 2024 for AJ Brown. So is AJ
Yeah.
Brown
Is
also
he
damaged goods?
that's great. Is Max Crosby worth AJ Brown plus a pick? I
Right.
didn't think of that.
I think
Maybe.
potentially because
Maybe.
while AJ Brown is a marquee star in this league and probably will be for a while longer, and that be that as it may, Max Crosby is like top three in my
Oh yeah.
book
Oh yeah.
defensive players in this league. Like
Yeah, for
like
sure.
there are few players more electric, and especially more, like few edge rushers more electric than Max Crosby. He may be it for me. He
Right.
may be number one. I mean, Jared Verse played really well for the Rams last year,
Yeah.
but and he's kind of he's up and coming. But look at the track record for Max Crosby. He has had nobody next to him. He has had
Right.
nobody around him, and
And
he's
he
putting
just
up
still makes it.
massive sacks totals. And I
Yeah.
mean, you know, then you talk about Myles Garrett too, of course. But
Yeah, I think Miles Garrett would be my one, but I think Max
yeah,
Crosby's my two, to your
yeah,
point.
yeah.
So
You, how do you quantify the value of that guy? Obviously, the
right.
Ravens quantified it by saying 2 first round picks. So is AJ Brown worth 1 first round pick? And then you give him a second or a
Right.
third,
Right.
and
And
then
I
you get
think
Max Crosby? Yeah.
and from what if the reports are true, I think they were saying AJ Brown we were saying AJ Brown's worth a first and no one took us up on it.
Right.
So by that logic, no one else seems to think he's worth a first. So
Yeah.
maybe you're right. Maybe my question is loaded. Maybe it's a definite take it because Crosby's worth so much more than AJ
Right.
Brown.
Right.
It's it's just so tough with injuries, man, because you don't know how they bounce back until they actually bounce back. You
Right.
know,
Yeah. Unpredictable completely.
right?
I still, fingers crossed, I still think that AJ Brown will be in the Eagles uniform this year. I still think that the
Yeah,
chances are he will be in the Eagles uniform this year just because of the amount of money that the Eagles would have to give up to get rid of him. In any of
right.
these circumstances, you'd still be, even if you trade him, correct, Jake, you'd still be on the salary cap. It would still get hit. You'd still have the cap hit, correct?
Right, which is why I don't think it's going to happen on draft. There were some people
Yeah.
thinking on draft day you'd move. I don't think so. I think it would have to be after that cutoff, June 1st or
Yeah.
July
June
1st,
1st.
whatever,
Yeah.
June 1st.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think if he gets, I honestly don't think he gets moved. Howie Roseman, I think, is just going to keep him to spite the media. Yeah, I don't know if
Mhm.
you've seen him. He's just like every time people ask, he goes, AJ Brown is a Philadelphia Eagle. AJ Brown
Yeah.
is a Philadelphia Eagle.
Yeah.
AJ Brown is a Philadelphia Eagle. He's
Yeah.
just like shut it down, which he's not normally like that.
Yeah.
So I just wonder if he's just gonna just keep them to spite them and just tell them to shut up because I'm sick of answering the question. He's gonna be an Eagle next year. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. Exciting times in Philly sports. We've got a lot of baseball coming up, and we've got an important Eagles draft this month, Jake.
End of the month in Pennsylvania, baby, the other side of the state, but still
This
Pennsylvania.
month. So we got a lot to talk about in the coming weeks
Sure do.
as the Eagles prepare for what should be a restacking of the deck potentially on the defensive side of the ball, potentially.
Maybe. We
I'm
lost
thinking
everyone.
safety is going to be a possibility.
I think we're actually literally like we need a safety. I think we're actually short.
I think safety's a possibility, and maybe some more depth on the offensive line, Jake. I could see that being.
That's where I'm thinking. We'll do maybe next podcast or maybe the one after. We'll just do a full like mock draft, like
Let's do it.
Full dive.
Let's do it
into it because this is a huge draft for us. We lost a lot of pieces on defense. We're getting a little old on offense, unfortunately. So yeah, Howie's got a lot of work to do.
Howie does have a lot of work to do, and we are going to be there alongside the Eagles and the Phillies as they get to work on their respective 2026 seasons. For the love of Broad Street.